my work is documentary in nature, and most of the themes that I cover are connected to the Arctic region, to the north. I have a very strong pull towards Arctic because it's my homeland and I don't live there anymore and I really miss it. So for me, to go and do work there, photograph is the way to keep connected. In 2013, I took a very interesting trip. I was on board of icebreaker ship that delivers supplies to remote and isolated meteorological stations in the Russian Arctic. And during this trip, I visited the most surreal places. I didn't even know or could imagine those places exist. What is in the exhibition here at the Photographers Gallery, it's 4 stories, each of them taken in different time in different locations, but they're all connected by the Arctic Ocean because all of them are on the shore. The first story is about Vyacheslav Korotki, who is chief of Meteorological Station at the very narrow peninsula in the Barents Sea. And then in 2018, I became a National Geographic Storytelling Fellow, and that allowed me to focus for 1 year, for the whole year, just on that, and that was a great support. And during this year, I traveled to 3 other places, and that became 3 other stories that you'll see in the show. The second story is about a couple, Evgenia, we share the same name, and Ivan, who are lighthouse keepers and meteorologists living in the Kanin Nos research station. I was fascinated by Evgenia. She's not from the north. She'd never been to Arctic. And she immediately fell in love with the place. And I think that says a lot about her, because it's not an easy place to fall in love with. But when you do, then it's kind of hard to unlove it, and it will be kind of always calling you. Third story is about Dikson, the town that was, people used to call the capital of Russian Arctic back in the day, and had 2,000 people in its heyday, and now is completely abandoned. It is located on the shore of Barents Sea, and it reminds me a lot of my own hometown Tiksi, because majority of those towns, those seaports, were built in a very similar way. I spent about 3 weeks there wandering empty streets, and then one day the amazing neon color of aurora appeared, and I think, yes, all of the images actually from the series were taken within a few hours when aurora was in the sky. And the fourth story is about Chukchi community in probably the most remote region in the Russian north, in Chukotka region. And these are people who are still living off the land and the sea, and living in the places where the ancestors used to live for millennia. They have the biggest walrus hollout on the planet, just 15 kilometers from this village. And in 2019, there were about 100,000 walruses that came out on that beach. And that is happening because of there's not enough floating ice in the sea anymore, so they don't have, they don't have ice to rest on during their migration and feeding. So they all come out in this place, and they lay in 2, sometimes 3 layers. And that causes suffocation of weaker animals and cubs. And in the beginning, when I was just starting in photography, I think it was more about reconnecting with my childhood, because I grew up in a small seaport town on the shore of Arctic Ocean. And when we moved from there, I really missed it, and I still miss all of the landscape and just the time, the time pace that you have in the north. But now I think I'm more, when I photograph, I, discover new things, but also, of course, this landscape trigger memories and some feelings that I had when I was a kid.